Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be discussing whether Deceive Inc is just a bad, poorly implemented Call of Duty clone, where the FPS elements of the game completely outweigh the stealth elements of the game, and how true that is. There is some strong prevalent opinions in some places on the internet, especially Reddit. Hello Reddit, don't downvote me please. that that the FPS elements of the game are way too powerful, and the most optimal way to play is to just be extremely aggressive, ignore objectives, ignore stealth gameplay, and just go or run around and shoot people and play the game basically like a deathmatch, or I guess a team deathmatch style if you're playing team games. There are various different threads that keep popping up on Reddit, such as this one, stop treating this game like COD. This one, ways to make the game more spy-like. And yeah, again, if I wanted to play a shooter, I'd play COD or Rainbow Six Siege. This one, a hardcore mode would save the games. I know the devs have stated that they want the game to be an FPS over a stealth game, which obviously ridiculous and makes no sense, but I digress. And this one, my favorite, where I'm literally being called out for apparently being a cheater, literally being witch hunted on Reddit, which I'm pretty sure is against Reddit rules, but anyway. Is Deceive Inc just a bad Call of Duty clone, or are the stealth elements in the game actually valuable? There's a sort of general consensus among these Reddit threads and other feedback of this kind that these mega aggressive players are actually not that good at the game, and they're only good at the mechanical first-person shootery part. So you'll find that a lot of these threads have general suggestions saying, hey, there needs to be more stealth elements in the game, you need to be rewarded for stealth more. I don't really think that's true in any capacity. The players who are doing this are by far the players who have been playing the longest. They're probably some of the best players in the game, and they know the game through and through. If you were to make changes that would make stealth more prevalent in the game and make stealth stronger relative to aggression, these players would adapt, and they would still be the best players in the game. They are the best players in the game because they know how to use aggression as a tool, even if when you're being killed by them, it doesn't feel like they're using it as a tool, it feels like they're just being all-out aggressive. Because yeah, what I find, and having played most of the top players in the game in various different modes, I usually play team modes, duos, trios, etc. I find that most players are not outright all-aggressive, because being outright all-aggressive is not actually a great strategy for winning games of Deceive Inc. I'm also, in general, quite skeptical of people who claim that these players are not able to stealth, because the ironic thing is if a player does stealth successfully, you don't know they're there, so you don't know that they're doing the thing that you claim that they can't do. Like, if they're really good at stealth, you literally will not know that they're a player, and they can just walk past you. It's always interesting to spectate games after I die and see, two teams who basically walk straight past each other and don't actually notice that each other are players. And that definitely happens, so yeah, that's also a bit of a strange argument for me. Yeah, I wanted to start by just dispelling this myth that the good players are only good because they're mechanical, because that's just not true. If you were to put like top players of other pure FPS games and stick them into a Deceive match against the best Deceive players, the Deceive players would crush them so hard it wouldn't even be a contest. Having the advantage of being able to spot players and blend in yourself and being able to take fights in the way that Deceive allows you to is just, it will overcome any FPS skill difference between, the good at Deceive Inc players and like a top, like CSGO player, for example, or CS2, I guess. So yeah, I want to move on to this like concept of does stealth matter, and I want to try and distill like all these like threads and the general feedback down into this sort of basic argument, and the argument being stealth and tactical play is not rewarding. This is what I would boil it down to, is that when people play stealthy, they play slow, they try to be tactical, they don't feel like they are rewarded for it. And honestly, I do genuinely think that this is true for quite a large number of players, but I also don't think it's the fault of the game. It's not Deceive Inc as a game, with the mechanics, the way the developers have developed the game and the mechanics in the game, they're actually making stealth and tactical play not rewarding. I think the biggest issue by far is just the low player base and the lack of skill-based matchmaking. As a certified level 600 sweat, which I am, The majority of the games I play are against people who have barely played the game. People who don't know what they're doing. People who literally wiggle walk across the map like a drunk baby, dude. Like, it's, these, you know, and to be quite honest, and it's true of most top players, I don't have a lot of fun, like, beating low-level players and people who are new to the game. I know that they're not going to have a good time if I play well, and if I play to my capacity. But at the same time, if I want to give them a chance, I have to dumb down my own gameplay so far that the game is just not fun for me anymore. It's simply not fun to play against such low-level players most of the time, and I think most top players would agree with me. And I think most top players would like to play the game against other good players, because it's way more fun. It's way more fun in general. The main reason this is happening is just the play base. The play base does not have the players to sustain high-level lobbies and high-level players playing against each other. Like, the amount of players we have right now, which is probably, my estimation, somewhere between like 200 to like 400 or 500, that's like the amount of like high-level players you need to sustain high-level play, and with a skill-based matchmaking system enabled. So if we have skill-based matchmaking, obviously we would then allow the low-level players and the new players to play against each other exclusively, and you guys would have a much better time. And then naturally, your stealthy and tactical play, which is obviously not at the same level as a high-level player's stealth and tactical play, is rewarding because you're playing against other low-level players. Players who are more susceptible to that kind of stuff. But yeah, right now there just is no solution to this problem. Like, the only thing we can do as a community and the developers can do is hope that the game blows up for some reason. You know, a big stream of players that are just, people just happen to catch on, and word of mouth passes around and suddenly Deceive becomes big. There is no easy way to fix this issue. If you turned on skill-based matchmaking right now, all of the top players would never get games. We would be sat in queues for hours, pretty much, or maybe they would not pop at all. I don't think making your most loyal players unable to play the game is a particularly good thing to do as a game developer. And even if you did do that and all these annoying, sweaty, try-hard players quit, and then all the low-level players, all the little Timmies who just want to go and enjoy a game of Deceive get to go and play and enjoy a game of Deceive, that's cool and everything. Maybe the game would even grow, but what will naturally happen is you're going to get other new players who join the game who also become good. Like, this is a naturally perpetual cycle that there are going to be good players, and so unfortunately, without the player base exploding, probably something like 5 to 10 times the players, we're just going to have this continual problem where newer players and lesser experienced players are going to get into matches with top level players. And it sucks. It really does suck. So from that point of view, if you're a little Timmy and you've seen the marketing and you're like, hey, Deceive Inc looks like this really cool stealth game, and then you start playing it and none of your stealth plays matter at all because high-level players are able to see through your stealthing extremely easily, I can completely understand why people in general do not feel like the stealth play is rewarding. But the issue here is the skill difference between players, not the game. The game itself is fine, and there is plenty of stealth and tactical plays that are completely valid at high-level play, and honestly at high-level play it's actually preferred. The thing to remember in a game like Deceive, where there is more than 2 teams, it's not just you who has an effect on the game, it's also the other players in the game. So if you're playing a trios game, a full trios lobby, and there is one super high-level team and the rest of the teams are fairly inexperienced low-level players, the other teams won't capitalize on this aggression by the top level team. So if the top level team goes super hyper aggressive on you in the first few minutes of the game and wipes out your squad, the other 2 squads are just going to be hanging out, probably not really doing anything with their time to take advantage of the fact that there is a fight. They're probably not going to third party, and if they do third party, it's probably going to be very badly played, so they're probably going to die as well. Or they're just going to be on the other side of the map, kind of maybe trying to gather some intel and figure out how to open the guard door. That is the reality of the queues currently in Deceive, and like it's not great for anybody, I don't think. I have not really been enjoying playing trios that much in Season 4, even though I'm traditionally have been a trios player, just because the difference in skill level between like me and the people I prefer to play with, my friends, and the rest of the lobbies is usually so great that I'm just not having any fun. I've actually been preferring playing duos generally because duos has a few more teams, and there are generally, you know, more higher skill players playing duos that allows those matches to be more competitive for me and keep my enjoyment up. So I do generally agree, and I'm genuinely sympathetic towards new players who do think that their stealth plays do not matter, because for the most part, if you're playing against a top level player, it's true. It's true that your stealth plays are not going to be important, because the skill discrepancy is so high, you're just not good enough at the game to outwit these top level players, and that's just the way it's going to be. And it sucks. It actually genuinely sucks. It sucks for the game. I think it's bad for Deceive. It's bad for Deceive's longevity and its long-term success. But I also have no idea how we fix that. We somehow need to get a bump of players. We need enough new players making it up through the ranks to becoming good players, to the point where we can start thinking about adding skill-based matchmaking to the game. But that is not easy. So we've talked about low-level players mixing with high-level players and how that sort of skews the balance on these mechanics. But what about in solely high-level play? In high-level play, stealth is the preferred way that people will move around the map. Being overly aggressive and loose and just running around everywhere is going to be severely punished by top level players. You're going to be spotted out extremely quickly, and because of the stealth, teams and players are going to be able to open on you in a way that basically means that you're guaranteed to lose the fight. So the ironic thing is stealth counters aggression. It's actually the other way around. But you do have to be good enough at stealth to not be instantly spotted out by your opponent. And honestly, that's not easy. This game is very complex, and I think it has one of the highest skill ceilings out of any FPS game I've seen. And this leads to another major problem I want to bring up in this video: how hard it is to learn and improve at Deceive. But we'll come on to that a little bit later on. For now I want to show an example game which should highlight just how valuable being stealthy and being tactical can be in a game of Deceive Inc. Our main opponents in this trios game are Gusu Games, Jace Hammer, and LC Neighbor, who are a very solid set of level 600 players. Goose has very graciously allowed me to show his point of view from his Twitch stream, so do me a favor and make sure you go and follow him. His Twitch link and Jace Hammer's Twitch link, who is also a Twitch streamer, are in the description below. So in this match I'm going to be playing Squire, and I'm going to be making great use of my Danger Sense expertise to find out where other players on the map and help my team execute fights properly. Now I'm going to be playing more of a scouty, stealthy role in this match. I'm not really going to be focusing on doing terminals. I'm going to let my team do that, because with Danger Sense I can sort of stealth around the map, look around, take it slow, and otherwise find out where players could be. And the power of Danger Sense allows me to essentially scout out and clear out different areas of the map very early on. So already seen, I've already left B. We spawned in B as a team, and we know now here that it's unlikely that people spawn here up at top side A in the Shrimpy spawn.
Hey, I'm good.
So my team is already into B, they've done it very quickly, but I'm not concerned about that, because that's, again, when you're talking about playing tactically, like, sticking together as a team is not necessarily a particularly strong tactical play. So I've got a little bit of bluing in, place and stuff, but again, my main focus here is I'm waiting for my Danger Sense cooldown, and I'm going to be dropping it down when I get down to B, so that we can, to D even, sorry, so we can check if there are players around on D. So yeah, again, no players on D, feeling pretty good about that. Do a little bit more looting. And now we're trying to scout and see where players could be next. And all of this is completely in stealth. I'm not playing any kind of aggression, no mechanics. I'm just walking around. We're seeing what happens. So we'll skip through the next section. I just kind of go in and do a guard room. It's pretty standard. It's a purple room. I now have 2 keycards, which is pretty cool. And now I'm using Danger Sense again, and we see Danger Sense turn red, so I know that there are players now at the top of D. So again, my unaggressive play here is to now use the secret exit and back out, because my team is not really with me, and I don't want to face check the D guard room when there could be 3 people in there, and I can't 1v3. So what I'm going to do is let my team know we just did the A terminal, and we're now going to look to collapse upon this team on D. We just need to identify and find out who they are. Through my understanding of Danger Sense, I'm basically able to avoid bad fights, making sure that we're only taking fights when we're together as a team, and not solo. So there are comms in this game, which is why I'm heading over here, I believe. There may be some calls here that we may be suspecting that there's going to be a player, but through the power of Danger Sense again, I'm going to be able to guarantee confirm whether we know players are here or not. And now we turn red. So now we know that there's a player in this area, or there's players towards D. So now I'm going to be walking towards D. We can see the Scolding Guard walk past. And now this player that wiggles and identifies both of them have identified themselves as players. And now we're able to get the initiate on the fight. So again, through stealthy play here and tactical play and using Danger Sense well, we're able to figure out who is a player. Try and get a flank on, doesn't work. There's a random ace. I don't know where the ace comes from, but thanks for the kill. And overall, we're able to mop up this fight. And like the point I'm trying to make here is we're able to get a good fight not because of aggression and strong mechanics. I didn't do anything special in that fight. We were just in the right place at the right time due to how using danger sense, stealthing around the map, and identifying targets, which is exactly what you should be doing this evening. And now I'm clearing out again. We're clearing out. So at this point, you got to understand is we've done B, D, and E. I've been calling it A this whole time. I apologize. It's E. I've been done B, D, and E. So we know at this point that the other remaining 2 teams, if there is still 2 teams remaining, are likely to be on the A or C side of the map. And to be honest, it's less likely to be C because we just took a fight at D and no one third-partied us, no one really reacted. So the likelihood is that the players were towards A, and as I run Danger Sense here, we're able to fully confirm that again. So now I have Danger Sense running, I know that these are players, or there are players in this direction, sorry, and now I just need to figure out who it is. So Danger Sense allows me to be a lot more aware of who could be a player and who isn't a player. I just need to now pay more attention. This guy come out of the gathering looks pretty sus, and then so we see here, the door opens the wrong way, so we know for guaranteed that that was a player letting in another player. That guard did not run into and unlock the door himself. And then we can see the players running in and out, and now we know this guy's a player because he ran down the stairs, is now suddenly stealthing, and again, just through patient play, we're able to get a really strong initiate, take down this guy. So now they're in a 3v2, and now it's pretty easy for us to clean the fight. So again, guy standing on stairs, very unguard-like. Able to pull him out. Unfortunate mistake here a little bit. Able to catch up the Lassen. And again, just looking at the position of the players here, there's a guard stood in this corner. That makes no sense. He should be running outside being aggroed. And we're able to identify the last player and chase him down. And again, no good mechanical play was made here. There is no mechanics involved. This is, any player could do this. It takes me an embarrassingly long time to kill this Yumi, to be quite honest. But we eventually get there.
Unfortunate.
But like, this is a prime example of why when people say, hey, this game is just about aggression, it doesn't make sense. We just won a game purely through not being aggressive, except in the specific moments of the fight. We just positioned well, we identified targets, and then we eliminated them when it was favorable. I didn't start the fight on the red when the red was inside the green room. I waited for the red to leave, and that way she isolated herself without even knowing that we were there, and then we were basically able to, I think in that case, 2v1 and kill her extremely quickly. This is generally what top-level players are doing against other top-level players in games. They are playing stealthily, they're trying to identify targets, and they're trying to get these favorable fights where they can either isolate one player by themselves because they leave their team, or they can just get a strong initiation, maybe a crossfire setup. They're not running around and trying to start fights willy-nilly, because that is a great way to get yourself killed. If I just ran in there 1v3 against these guys, I would have died. There is no doubt in my mind about that. The same thing on the D fight. If I used Danger Sense and then ran out and tried to 1v3 in the D guard room when my team wasn't there, I would have died as well, which would have been bad for my team. So I'm actually doing the exact opposite of what you would expect a player to be doing according to these Reddit threads and these feedback threads saying, hey, all these players are just ruthlessly aggressive, they don't actually have any stealth skills. Now we're going to look at that last fight from the opposite team's POV using Goose's streambot. The point of showing things is not to say what they've done wrong, because to be honest, they didn't really do anything wrong. They kind of just went into a staff room to collect some loot, and suddenly we're outside, and suddenly they are very dead. I want to use this to highlight my earlier statement of how difficult it is to improve in Deceive Inc when these kind of plays happen to you, which is what the top players are doing. In this situation, they just go and loot a green rune, and suddenly they're dead. There is absolutely no indication on their end of why they got caught out, what the problem is, how they misplayed. There isn't really a lot of information there. It's not a bad play from them, it is a proactively good play from us.
Oh, I'm getting shot. Oh. Okay. I wasn't even running or anything.
And you can even hear neighbor here say, I wasn't even running or anything, because,
Alright,
again,
well, they
from
know
that
we're in
situation,
here.
you just can't really know what went wrong. As someone who's played thousands of games of Deceive, this has also happened to me many times, and pretty much every top player, where you will just sometimes get shot out of nowhere, and you do not have any inkling as to why. You know, it might be this player might have been tracking you for a while, they might have had a hunch, there might have been some way that you actually misplayed that you didn't realize. It's very, very, very difficult sometimes to pinpoint why you were shot, initiated on, and probably eventually killed, which leads to frustration. I think this is only exacerbated in these extreme skill differential lobbies where there are extremely high level players and a bunch of lower level players. The low level players are getting eliminated so quickly and so brutally that they have no chance to learn. This is not helped by the lack of learning resources in the game. The tutorial is like woefully inadequate to teach you about how to play Deceive Inc. It gives you the very, very, very basics on a weird tutorial map, and to be quite honest, after you've done it, you probably have no idea what you're doing. You probably don't really know how to break into a guard room, grab the package. I really hope at some point the developers will look into the tutorial and other ways to help new players learn the game, because the tutorial barely scratches the surface, and then after that, you're basically left on your own to try and figure this stuff out, which when you're against super high level players, very quickly in solos or instantly in duos and trios, like, good luck. I am not at all surprised that people get frustrated at this game, feel like the things that they're doing don't matter, and end up quitting. There are some good tutorials on YouTube from other content creators, for example, Full Metal Croak's Guide, but I don't think the developers should be relying on people making YouTube content to help people learn the game. Not everybody learns super well from just watching videos, and also a lot of people will not think to search out a video in the first place. Is Deceive Inc just a bad Call of Duty clone? In my eyes, absolutely not. I think we've barely scratched the surface of the kinds of macro plays you can be making in team games especially, but also in solo play. The top level players are discovering new ways to play the game all the time and use the stealth mechanics in the game to gain advantages. I do fully appreciate that low level players and new players coming into the game may feel like there is no real stealth and tactical gameplay, and they also probably feel like there is no way to learn how to get better, and that is a very frustrating experience, and to be quite honest, is a major problem within the game. If you're not convinced by this video, I would highly recommend watching the upcoming Chavez Cup by Spire Scrims. It's going to be hosted on the 20th and 21st of July this month, and will be featuring basically the best solo Deceive players playing in a competitive format. You'll be able to see exactly how aggressive or non-aggressive the players are, but I have a very, very strong sneaking suspicion that majority of people are not going to be playing this hyper-aggressive style that people seem to think is the norm for Deceive. But that's the video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.